Okay. My name is Julianne Selesky. I do business development for the Madison Club.
I am Leah Rowe. I am the VP of Finance and Operations at Healthfinch, the founder of Culture Community, and the co-founder of Maven.
There you go. Guys, my name is Diana Pastrana. I'm the social media coordinator for 1 Million Cups. I also work for M&M Office Interiors.
And they provided the donuts.
Yeah, they're the ones we have to thank for the donuts. Wow. They don't know it yet, but they provided you guys donuts this morning. So, and today, you guys, if any of you would be willing to push out some social media for me, you can use hashtag WI Startup Week, right?
WI Startup.
WI Startup. Just WI Startup.
I'm like looking about like, right?
WI Startup Week, yeah.
Okay, WI Startup Week. All right, we've got this together. Hashtag WI Startup Week.
And here are all the other events if you're interested in hanging out with us.
Go to that website.
And Culture Community right here tomorrow, 8:30.
Madison Club.
All right, that's
Sweet.
me.
I'm Michael. I do product and engineering stuff at Healthfinch as well. Usually I say thanks to everyone who talks to me, to schedule presentations and things like that. Today I am going to thank all of you because when I am talking with people who are scheduling presentations, I always say to them, it is an amazing environment because the audience is so engaged in helping you with whatever your request is. So keep it up, everyone. I think it's just a really awesome thing that I get to say. I don't feel like I'm pulling people to present. I feel like they are just so rewarded by having all of you just throw out crazy random ideas and to be kind of a part of their leadership team for a morning. So thanks.
Yeah. Sure, so we're switching it up.
Dr. Eric Johnson with Functional Wellness and Chiropractic Center, and what I do is I break the healthcare cycle. Kind of my end goal is to make you the healthiest possible version of you, and with the goal in mind of hopefully never seeing you in my clinic again.
My name's Trezzy. I run Trezzy.com. I also do a podcast called 100 State of Mind, trying to capture the entrepreneurial spirit through conversation. If you're looking to talk about yourself, talk about your business, get in touch with me. Love to have you on the show.
Hey, I'm DP Knutson. My company's name is Collaborator Creative, and I collaborate creatively with a wide variety of companies and individuals on everything from custom copywriting to nonfiction branding. I would be remiss not to mention the book that was just published by myself and Spencer X. Smith called Rotoma, the ROI of Social Media Top of Mind. You want to buy a copy? I happen to have two on me today.
And they're going for the low price of
a $20 bill.
Oh.
And I can swipe via Square. And also the talk tomorrow at Culture Community is going to be a lot of fun, I hope.
It will be.
It will be.
Tips accepted.
Yes, exactly.
I'm Michael Vobel, investment advisor representative at CLF Asset Management.
Hi, I'm Simon Legal. I'm the co-founder of that firm and another VC firm.
Chandra Miller-Feenan, I'm with StartingBlock Madison.
Lucas Frisbee, startup team strategist for StartingBlock.
Dennis Barnum with Merlin Mentors. We've been helping entrepreneurs in this area for about 7 years now.
Eric Lawrenson, Cap Times. Quigley, technical co-founder of Kilter Rewards. We try and reward you for working out.
Tara Grace, commercial lender with Community Bank State Bank of Cross Plains.
I'm Sherry Filsinger. I'm a wellness coach and independent consultant representing Arbonne International, Pure Safe Beneficial Products. I help people like he does take their life back, take their health back to avoid going to the doctor.
Good morning. My name is Jason Knockrenner. My group's name is Ridgetop Consulting, technical consulting in two specific areas of emphasis, in the communication side and on cybersecurity.
Hi, I'm Gene Cook, computer programmer.
Hi, I'm Shannon Flash. I'm a project manager at WPS.
Chris Figueroa, financial advisor with Merrill Lynch.
Joel Ehrlich, a data quality consultant at CUNA Mutual.
Pope, research analyst, WEDC.
Good morning, Francesca Rodriguez, Foundation Officer at the Madison Public Library Foundation.
I'm Paloma Kennedy. I'm the owner of Kennedy Law. I focus on startups and small businesses getting what their legal needs are on an affordable level.
Good morning. My name is Trent Fida. I'm a student at the university, and I'm interested in starting a business in the next year or so.
Hi, I'm Matt Dang. I'm co-founder of Response2. We're looking to solve the problem of contracts and document automation.
I'm Brian Robertson, software developer with experience in sales and marketing of software, looking to join a startup team.
I'm Theo Howard, and I'm an artist, and I'm working on getting artists partnered with startup community people, because a lot of artists don't have startup skills, which would, I mean, artists are kind of the original entrepreneurs, I think, but also they have zero skills in that respect, and they can learn about so much about branding. So if you have a co-working space or a professional want to be connected with artists, do collaborative projects and presentation, please talk to me.
I'm Josh. I run Little Wolf Digital Marketing. I help people get found online.
My name is Aiden. I work at HealthFinch as a customer success specialist, and I am actually also a part of Culture Community. So another plug to come tomorrow.
Good morning, I'm Danny Anderson. I work for Baker Tilly, an accounting firm, and sorry, but I don't have any artist skills.
Brian Lynn, Canadian transplant, just spinning my tires till I get my papers.
Brian Rathbun, American transplant. I'm with Digital Fitness, your all-inclusive digital marketing company, taking care of everything SEO, photography, social media, branding, logo, all included for one low monthly rate.
Okay, I'm Derek Gebler with Field 59. We're online software as a service for media companies.
Hi, I'm Kate Sullivan. I'm a real estate agent, and anyone who's interested in buying or selling homes, here I am. And DP, I have your book. Spencer came to a business meeting, so I'm reading it now.
He always gets the sale.
Derek, make sure you believe that.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Eric Schluter. I'm a field representative for Congressman Mark Pocan.
Raul Rao, Old National Bank.
Derek Marley, Old National Bank.
Andrew Gonzalez, Commercial Lending at Old National Bank.
Oh, we're so excited to have all of you guys here. Love new faces, love our regulars who are here all the time. Just kidding. And with that, we're really excited to announce StartingBlock to come on up. Chandra and Lucas can take it away. If anyone kicks
I'm more excited
it,
for the follow-up.
Thank you.
So, has anybody here not heard of StartingBlock at all? Oh, excellent. Not heard of StartingBlock, Matt.
I have your email address.
So that's good, because obviously StartingBlock has been working for the past 5 years to build our building, which is under construction right now up at 821 East Washington Avenue. So that's right across from Festival Foods. And the construction projects have proceeded to such a date that I think if you take a look at that block, you can now actually see that there's two different buildings, two separate buildings that are simultaneously being built on that. So people always ask us which one is the StartingBlock building. And so the StartingBlock building, which is the Spark, it's being built by our major partner, American Family Insurance, is the one building in. So we're not on the corner between East Washington and Livingston. We're one building in. It's going up really fast, so pretty soon you'll be able to see the exterior signage and you'll be able to recognize it. I've got some pictures here. Never before publicly shown drawings of the StartingBlock interior plans. So we're really happy to be here today and talk about StartingBlock. We're going to kind of go through stuff really fast because we figure probably the most interesting thing is being able to leave time to answer your questions rather than stand up here and talk at you. So, especially since this PowerPoint presentation kind of wants to run itself. It just wants to move from slide to slide. So let's see if I can get this thing going here. Maybe. No? Play? View? Slideshow? You guys want to see it small? I'm trying to get it big so you can actually see. Here, how about this? Not yet.
Play from start.
It is.
Like double click on something? Presenter view?
It is on presenter view. You'd think I actually literally do this all the time.
Microsoft.
How's it working?
Extended display.
Anybody in tech?
I'm not saying.
It's also not my computer. My computer couldn't even plug into the screen, so. But anyway.
PowerPoint, there's always PowerPoint.
Gosh.
Oh, now you're.
Now just talk. I'm gonna stand in front of this and talk about Starting Block. Well, we did have it working
Click mirror displays.
before.
What's that?
So.
Uncheck mirror displays. Go back to arrangement. Uncheck mirror.
Oh. Okay.
So anyway, ignore the chaos that is going on behind me. Starting Block will be a 50,000 square foot entrepreneurial hub that's built for the entrepreneurial community here in Madison. And we have 3 basic strategic goals. One is, how do we help launch great companies? And when I mean great companies, or when we mean great companies, we mean companies that are financially successful. We mean companies that are great to their employees, and we mean companies that are great to their community. And we think that Starting Block has a role in helping them be great in all 3 areas. Our second strategic job is, how do we accelerate growth? How do we take an early stage company and help them grow to 25, 50, 100 employees faster and easier? And there's been a lot of resources here in Madison that have developed over the past 5, 10 years since I've been working on entrepreneurial issues. But we really think that the next gap where we can focus and move the needle is on, how do we accelerate growth, so the mid-stage, how do we get you to 25, 50? And Lucas is a key part of that. And lastly, how do we drive innovation? How do we either both keep our entrepreneurs and our startups focused on innovation that's on the horizon? How do we partner with the University of Wisconsin, the other innovators that are here in our community? And how do we partner with our legacy corporations like American Family Insurance and Northwestern Mutual and Harley Davidson and Johnson Controls and other companies to engage with our entrepreneurial community, either as testing customers, venture capitalists, and bring in the entrepreneur and existing companies sort of partnership in that way. So those are the 3 areas that Starting Block focuses on. And there, really tiny now, is the building. Oh.
Creatively.
So, launch, grow, innovate. You saw that slide. We're on the exciting, sexy stuff. So as I mentioned, it's part of the Capital East District, Galaxy Constellation Breeze Stadium. Here is the new Gephardt building that's here, and then here's the Spark building. And this is what it's going to look like. So we will have floors 2, 3, and 4. Now it's driving itself. So this is not actually part of Starting Block, but the Dream Bank is on the first floor of the Spark building. And the reason why I have this slide in here is because the partnership that we have with American Family Insurance has some connectivity in the spaces between what we offer at Starting Block and what American Family Insurance is doing on the first floor. In particular, I want to, and they're really beautiful. These spaces are going to be gorgeous. If you've ever been into the Dream Bank, it's really high quality stuff. So there's going to be a 100-person meeting room in the AmFam Dream Bank space that is available just like the Dream Bank is here, but bigger, for community events. So that's, they don't charge. They're free, they support them, and I do think that we hope that 1 million cups will move into...
1 million cups will be moving into that space, correct.
Which is the reason why the sled is here for you. The space is also divisible into 2 50-person classrooms, so if you have smaller events or you only need one of the classrooms, you can reserve that as well. And then lastly, you can actually open up the entire Dream Bank space and get about 150 person on an off hours space. So this will be really cool. Then up here in this corner is a sort of a library type featured community room, real soft seating, great place to meet. There's a fireplace in it. So that's going to be really fantastic. So AmFam on the Dream Bank is going to be beautiful. Starting Block is going to be on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floor. We're scrappy, we're lean. We have made every single one of our donor dollars go really far, and hopefully everything will be painted and carpeted if we succeed in that process. So what we're doing here is on the 2nd floor, I just wanted to show you, is our idea is to give office space that's scalable and entrepreneurial friendly for a growing startup. So you can start with a flexible desk, move to a reserved desk if that's what you want. We have co-working spaces, we have open office spaces, we have secured office spaces. We also have some pain in the butt presentation. We have, go back, thank you.
Working on it.
We have some IT Center of Excellence space that'll be in here. That will include a recording studio and a video studio in which we're partnering with a local video production company. And he will be in this space and he'll be offering discounts for production work that's done for Starting Block tenants. And if you've ever been to any one of the Generator premiere nights, it's the same videographer that does, Kyle Jenkins, that does the Generator videos. So he's a really great, easy to work with guy. We'll have conference rooms, our offices, and then we have these 1,000 square foot suite spaces. So the idea is to be as turnkey as possible for the entrepreneur. If you need to move from an office to a suite, it's super easy and you don't have to look for a new lease. We can turn those around really easily. On our third floor, we also have a big open, this is about 6,000 square feet of space. Additional co-working conference room space. Generator is going to be co-locating as our partner organization on the third floor. We have another suite. This black area is not actually part of Starting Block, but again, it's a collaboration with American Family Insurance. And this will be a building work cafe for everybody that's a tenant in the building, including all of our startups. And again, it's going to be a great meeting space, and we've been really thoughtful and intentional about what can happen in the space. And then if anybody knows Forrest Woolworth of Capital Entrepreneurs in Per Blue, Forrest really likes rooftop terraces. And so for 5 years, he's been wanting a rooftop terrace. And so this is the rooftop terrace that's on the top of the third floor before you hit the podium. And then lastly, we have the fourth floor, which is really dedicated to more secure space for a mid-sized startup company. This is a 4,000 to 5,000 square foot space, and this is a 5,000 to 6,000 square foot space that's available for 2 of our anchor tenants. The designs are a little bit different. This is not the most recent plan. That will be in this space as well. So a little bit about our team. We're a 3-person team right now, although we have a larger community and volunteer presence. There's been, it's a lot more than just 3 of us. I'm Starting Block as Director of Operations and Programming. We have Scott Resnick, who's been involved from the very, very beginning. He was our first executive director, and then last year he moved over to be our entrepreneur and mentor in residence. And then finally, our newest team member is Lucas Frisbee, who is our startup team strategist. So I'm going to turn it over to Lucas real quickly to let him talk about his program, and then we'll just open it up to questions.
Cool. So as Chandra said, I am the startup team strategist for Starting Block, and yes, that's correct. I do have the same exact shirt on as you. It's really embarrassing. So if I wasn't sweating enough, here we go. I think the best way to describe to you guys what I do in my role there is to answer the classic questions of who, what, when, and why. So why create the startup team strategist role? Why hire somebody like me to do it? And like a lot of things in the entrepreneurial and startup community, it stems from identifying a problem and either developing or creating a solution for that problem. And the problem that startups and entrepreneurs and even a lot of established companies face right now is how to find, hire, and retain top technology talent. And it's an extremely competitive market here in Madison and across the country right now for technology and top technologists. And one of the biggest pain points that companies face is really finding that talent, and not finding the talent puts things on hold, stops production of the work that you're doing. And once that happens, that stops the momentum. And we want that momentum to continue here in Madison with our startups and our tenants that we work with. So they identified the problem of the talent side and decided to create the startup team strategists. Now, the who would be obviously me. So who am I in my background? So I moved to Madison in February, but before that I spent the last 10 years living and working downtown Chicago. And the majority of my experience there, I partnered with Fortune 50, Fortune 500, some of the leading advertising agencies, and quite a few startups to really help them grow and scale their teams from a technology standpoint, from a creative standpoint, from a digital standpoint. So I worked with them from beginning to end, devising a plan, one-on-one plan of how to identify the talent, how to bring them in, how to hire them, how to onboard them, and then how to retain them on a large scale level. Worked for 10 years in Chicago, got tired of that rat race, woke up one morning, decided that Madison was going to be a good fit for me. So I moved here in February and got introduced to StartingBlock a couple months ago and joined the team as the startup team strategist, like I said. So moving on to the what do I do at StartingBlock, which is a great question. We're still working through a lot of that right now, but we've really, besides working one-on-one with our entrepreneurs and our startups to help find talent, there's a number of other things that I do. And one of those things that we're doing right now is really kind of developing a series of programming, if you will, in the form of discussions by industry leaders or panelists to identify some of those issues that a lot of companies are facing on talent. So we're putting together a series of discussions, like I mentioned, around how to find talent, how to hire them, some of the policies that go along with bringing them on board, what comp packages look like, and things like that. So we want to be able to empower our tenants and our clients and our startups with a lot of the tools that they're going to need to be able to find that talent themselves. So in a nutshell, you can kind of view me as the almost one-stop shop for everything talent-wise here in Madison. So when that comes to educating on what the market looks like, what the rates are going to cost to bring somebody on, what that process is going to look like, and then also being able to retain my services as a dedicated recruiter for our startups and talent that we work, clients that we work with. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what my background looks like.
All right. So that's a starting block in 10 minutes or so. I'm sure that you have questions. I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, I've got a couple questions. One is, I was a little snarky, but I didn't see Merlin up there on your slide, and we've been doing this for 7 years, so we have a lot of experience in working with entrepreneurs. I've been here 15 years, and I've seen a lot of changes. And the real question I have is that since I first heard about StartingBlock was about 4 years ago, till we hope something's going to actually happen here, a lot has changed in the market. And that's kind of the entrepreneurial world, very lightning fast, reactive. And you guys are kind of saying this is what we think we need, but my guess is you're going to probably have to react to that rapidly changing environment. And how do you plan to do that if it happens?
So that's a really good question, and it's funny because when we started the StartingBlock group, the sort of the founding planning team, we had Troy Vesser from Generator and Forrest Woolworth from Capital Entrepreneurs and the Doyen Group, and they were all within 2 years of just starting. So it was all this nascent pieces of what's missing from our ecosystem, what already exists that we can leverage, where the gaps are. And so that has been an ongoing 5-year process while StartingBlock has done the heavy, hard lifting of trying to raise enough funds to build something this ambitious and big. And so we have definitely listened to our collaborators. We've held regular collaborators meetings. We've talked to and done outreach with the university, with Merlin, with Generator, with the Doyen. And as they've evolved, we've also evolved. And I think one of the things that StartingBlock's main mission really is we don't need to be everything entrepreneur. We don't have to be this umbrella. Our goal is to look at the resources that are available in the ecosystem, try to understand where people's talent and who provides value to what type of company, close gaps, find partnerships, bring people together, and then make that set of resources with our collaborators more transparent. It's one of the reasons why 18 months ago we started the newsletter, because it's basically allowed us to curate all of the entrepreneurial events that are happening in Madison, including A Million Cups, see what's out there, and then see who's going to what, where's the traction, what's not happening. And from that, we've always knew that space was a gap. But from that, we also were able to identify that more resources for the growth piece was something that we could do, and more research for something like talent, because every entrepreneur that we talk to said talent's a problem in Madison, and we aren't being well served by what's out there already. And we think really honestly by bringing some of our collaborators into our space, the whole idea is to be able to be responsive to each other quickly.
No, I understand that, but what I just heard was all the stuff you talked about, Generator, As a perfect example, All Organic started with 2 guys that were dedicated to doing capital entrepreneurs. So what you're telling me is that what you're providing is a nice space for all us to come together for collaboration. And that's what Starting Block is?
So the entire mission, the initial planning idea of Starting Block was, there were a lot of entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, that were coming out of the university. The University of Wisconsin had a Kauffman grant. They seeded some of these types of activities. And then they got out in Madison, and once they got thrown out of the university, there weren't spaces where they could share in their community. Now, it's changed a lot in the 5 years, but the desire to still aggregate, be collaborative, put entrepreneurs next to each other in a real substantive way, so that they can learn from together, they can leverage each other, that we can be a beacon out there of what's going on in Madison. We can identify what our innovation startups need. That need is still there.
And it's not just the space either. It's an opportunity to get the resources that they need to become successful, right? So like having the opportunity to work with somebody like me who knows about hiring talent when they don't know where to go, when they can't hire their friends or their family.
I understand what you want to do, and I hope you're extremely successable. I'm just questioning what we have going here versus what we already have, and that's all. I'm sorry.
Wait, hold on. Go ahead.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying about the collaboration point, but I see there's so much more there too. You kind of mentioned aggregation. Collaboration, aggregation, you've got the venue, you've got the resources and connection. So if you have to think metaphorically, it's taking what UW-Madison has, strip the degree accreditation, and supply it to people who are postgraduate. That type of mixing that happens at the university naturally now has a venue, a physical place where all this higher level first principle stuff can happen as well. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Any other questions? Yeah, Dan.
So, Lucas, are you focused on finding talent locally, or are you focused on bringing talent in?
We'll start local. There's a ton of talent here in Madison. There's a top technologist here, so they always want to start local and keep the local talent here. And that's one issue is there's also a lot of talent that left because they weren't aware of some of a lot of the resources and the opportunities that they had here. So at some point, it's about bringing that talent that left back to the Madison community. But really, I'm focused on finding talent here first, and then if we've got to go outside to Chicago, to Milwaukee, to the West Coast, I've done that before. I've relocated people. We could do that as well. But really, we're focused here first.
So then, would people apply to Starting Block, kind of like they apply to the QTI group, and then you'd match them? Is that?
Yeah. So there's 2 ways. I mean, if you go on their website, you'll see a tab for join, and if you click on that join tab, it'll bring up a page. Fill out your information, and there's multiple boxes to check to say, I'm an entrepreneur looking for space. I'm a technology talent who's looking to work with a startup or things like that. And they can go on. And once you fill that all out and send it in, it'll be directed to the right place. So if you're talent, it'll be directed to me. Looking for space, to go to Chandra, Scott as well.
What kind of penetration or outreach have you done hearing about the original mission to university students or departing PhDs or even undergrads?
The relationship with the university is a long-term strategic relationship, and so one thing is that because the components of the building took so long to acquire, it's really difficult to build a building. It took 18 months to get the city of Madison to issue the RFP, where we just sat and fundraised because the RFP hadn't gone out, so we couldn't apply for the RFP. So it just takes a long time, and so we are in the process of really implementing and operationalizing our relationship with the students and the professors, starting sort of now and through next fall. But we've had an ongoing relationship and conversations and collaborations with the various components of the university, sort of strategically.
Do you see that as more of a talent pipeline or like an entrepreneurship pipeline or both?
I think it'll be both. I mean, one thing that is of question is whether or not students will think 800 East Washington Avenue is too far to go. But we do definitely think, so there's some interesting things about restrictions on the university and what they can do pre and post incorporation. And so by allowing to have something like Starting Block, companies that may start at the university and then go through D2P's process, discovery to product before incorporation. Then when they incorporate, they need space because they can no longer use federally funded space. That's something that Starting Block is really easy for them to just create space for them as they come out of the university.
And for me, Matt, my last couple of months here has been all about outreach. So getting in the community, spreading the word about Starting Block, what we do, who we are, what opportunities are there. Because if you don't spread the word and tell the people, they're not going to understand. So meeting, I met at UW multiple times with the entrepreneur side, with the business side, to update them on who we are, what we do, what the progress looks like, how they can get involved, how we can get the students involved. So we're really trying to build that relationship there for sure.
My question is sort of 47 parts here, but so bear with me.
Holy cow.
First, on the anchor tenant level, is that designed to be turnkey as well, or is that more of a traditional real estate venture where you would have them come in, design the space, and set it up where they're paying a lease and T&Os and sort of a more traditional real estate venture?
It's a little bit more because everything from the suite on down is actually a license to use. It's easier and less legalistic for those users. The larger space is a little bit longer. Those companies are a little bit further along, and so what they're asking for us is actually a more traditional lease. But we're trying to keep it simple. And the first companies that we're talking with, we've got a couple of seriously interested. They're interested in coming in first because they get to build it out. Now, what they're building, I think almost any company of that size is going to be pretty interested in. They're putting in some offices, they're putting in some conference rooms, they're paying for a kitchenette. So I think that our second and third anchor tenants, once one of them pledges out and the next tenant moves in, the large heavy lifting of that TI will likely be done. It'll be more turnkey for them.
Okay. So secondly, in the more co-working space, is that going to be more of an all-inclusive, including internet, phone lines, sort of a walk-in, and everybody gets the same sort of package when they walk through the 1,000 square foot door?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yes, except that remember that Starting Block started by a bunch of entrepreneurs, and so flexibility is in our mantra. So we are trying to make it as turnkey as possible. We are trying to say you don't have to invest in furniture. Sorry, at this stage, early stage in your company, you don't have to go scouring around for couches out on the curb in August and drag them through the building. We will have that there for you. If there's something that's specific to your business or the way you operate, we can be flexible and take things out. But the idea is, yep, you can move from the various types of space super easily in a weekend.
Okay. Thirdly, and then I'm done. I swear I'm done. So is the eventual goal to sort of get a incubator startup, transfer them to almost your anchor tenant level, and then allow them to go on to their next space and flourish on their own? Is that sort of the process in which somebody comes to you and then leaves?
So that's a really good question, and I think it's twofold. One is, it's important to Starting Block that we're more and we serve more startups than just those that are our tenants, right? So even before you come in, before you even identify yourself as an entrepreneur, all the way through, you're ready for space, you're ready for an office, you're ready for a suite. We have purposely made the suites small, and the idea of Starting Block is help these companies come in when it's the hardest time to find space. That's, your early stage startups are sometimes like college students. They move every year because they don't want to over rent, and they're always willing to take whatever little corner some landlord has for 6 months and then figure out what they're going to do in the next 6 months. And so we're trying to bring that into a more intentional way because moving is disruptive. It's really disruptive. But at the same time, when you get to you've been in operation for a couple of years, you have your revenue, you are ready to move out into commercial land. We want you out of the nest because we need that churn. We need to have that vibrancy and see what's the next smallest company and be able to help that. So yeah, we purposely kept the suites and the anchor tenancies, more companies versus against more space. Yeah.
So to piggyback on that, so if you look at like an 1871 down in Chicago, what's the kind of success rate of a entrepreneur that comes in to that successful company? if you see 100 individuals come in, on average, what's kind of the success rate to becoming that successful company?
I do not have the numbers for 1871, and that's a really interesting question. One of the things that we want to do, somewhat because some of our founders come out of a public policy side as well, but also because we have significant amounts of public funding. We have almost $3 million of money from the city, the state, and the federal government, which is a major commitment on our side, is to really think in a community way of, does the community and does the startups that engage in that community, do they do better? How do we help them? Do we actually move the needle? And it's hard to do it as one entity because it's not just one entity that helps the startup. And so there's a lot of work that's being done of how do we actually get a metric and a scorecard and account for who each one of the service organizations is helping and providing, and then exactly, are they more successful? Do they get funding? Do they get funding faster? Do they grow to that 25 employee, 50 employee faster if they're engaging with certain components of the ecosystem? Hey, Bob.
Hey, Chandra. It's really nice to see the acceleration of the pace of the construction going on right now. With regards to Starting Block, do you guys have a definitive, not so much a definitive date, at least some kind of time frame in terms of when completion is supposed to be expected by?
Absolutely. It's going up really fast. It's hard to believe that we expect to be able to move companies in May. And then we will do public grand opening because there's other components of that development that are behind us in schedule. So probably public opening next fall. But for companies that are starting to look for space, we're selecting that first class and having those conversations right now. In fact, we're doing a tour of Starting Block tomorrow. And let's see here, I opened up the tour and I had 25 companies register. And Findor said, whoa, 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 I don't want 25 people on my construction site. So then we did a second tour, and now next week we have a third tour, just to show perspective kind of what space actually looks like. So if you have a startup, or you know of a startup that is looking for space, or you think that we should be talking to, please let us know. We will be doing outreach in November and December. We will be conducting tours at the construction site with the plans. You can actually walk around and see where it is. And then talking specifically about what companies need, what kind of space they're interested in.
DP, I'm cutting you off. Sorry, it's 10 o'clock, and you guys can all stay after, as always, and chat. But we always like to, Danny, no.
I just want to ask, do you still have those 2 books available?
I do. You know I do.
Okay, we always like to end and ask Starting Block what we as the community can do to help you in your efforts. We're obviously a community of entrepreneurs, so
I have 2 asks, so
there
Lucas
you go.
has 2 asks.
Guys, take notes. This sounds intense.
So one, if you haven't already done it, please sign up for our community newsletter. It's the best way for us to be able to engage and keep the community abreast of what Starting Block is doing, but also, again, what all the community events that are going on. So we try to list as many as possible. And it's just sort of be a one-stop shop for events. And you can really see even if you skim the newsletter, what's available, and it's pretty impressive. New meetup groups and things that are going on. So that's one. The second one is please continue to engage with us if you have questions, if you know of startups. There's a lot. We need like that second tier. We have big, deep, strong networks, but the startups that engage with us are not necessarily, or at least they're not necessarily the startups that might be really interested in the space. And so now that we're moving into, we're ready to go, we will be open in May. Please send me names, send me people that we should be talking to for space operations talents. Goes to him.
Yep. So my ask would be, one is an ongoing one and kind of longer term one, and that is if yourself, your company, your startup, your entrepreneur, if you have any questions at all about what the hiring process looks like, what recruiting and what the market looks like here in Madison, please don't hesitate to reach out. I am more than happy to talk. I want to share the information. I want to educate you on it, because if you go down the wrong path of doing it, it's going to cost you a lot of money. It's going to cost you a lot of time. And hiring or firing somebody isn't fun. So we want to make sure that we do the hiring the right way. So if in any capacity that I can help you with that, or your company, please don't hesitate to reach out. Second one, more of an immediate thing, and I kind of talked about this a little bit ago, is the programming that we're doing right now. The one ask I could ask of all of you is to keep, if you can think of any business leader, any, I want to say senior level person who has experience on the HR side and recruiting and scaling and growing teams, and you think they would be interested in participating in our programming when it comes to being a panelist or a moderator or along those lines of helping out, I would love to connect and chat with them. I'm still new to Madison, like I said, so I'm building my network, but I'm trying to identify right now these business leaders who I think would be good fits for the programming that we're doing. So long term, think of me when it comes to hiring talent, and short term, if there's anybody you think I should reach out to, please let me know.
All right, guys, let's give them a warm round of applause.